Have you ever been outside your own house, knowing someone is inside and they're just not letting you in? That's exactly what happened to me. My name is Lillian Smith. I'm 16, and that night, something changed in a way I still can't fully explain without feeling that same cold crawl up my spine. But before we continue, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell for updates. It started with the storm. Not just rain. No, this was the kind of storm that makes the sky look alive, thunder that shakes your chest, wind that feels like it's pushing you somewhere you don't want to go. Winter, my little brother, he's 8, was already nervous. He hates storms, always has. He kept asking Mom if the power would go out. Mom, Veronica, she wasn't really listening. That was the first thing that felt off. She'd been like that for weeks, distracted, distant, always on her phone late at night, locking doors she never used to lock, whispering to people we never met. And then, out of nowhere, she looked at us and said, "Go outside, just for a minute." No explanation, no warning, just go. I remember laughing at first. I thought she was joking. She wasn't. She opened the door, waited for us to step out, and then, click, locked it. At first, I thought it was some kind of punishment. Maybe I forgot something. Maybe Winter did. But then the rain started, fast, heavy, freezing. Winter grabbed my arm, already shaking. "Lillian, why isn't Mom opening the door?" Good question. I knocked. Then I pounded. "Mom, stop! It's not funny!" Nothing. But here's the thing that didn't make sense. The lights were still on inside, and I swear, through the window, I saw movement, not just shadows. Someone was walking around in there. I pulled out my phone and called her, and this is the part that made my stomach drop. Her phone started ringing, inside the house. So let me ask you. If your mom is inside, and she knows you're out there in a storm, why wouldn't she open the door? Winter started crying, like really crying now, the kind where he can't breathe properly. And I didn't know what to do, until I noticed someone standing at the edge of the yard, not moving, just watching us. A man, and slowly, he raised his hand, holding a key. The stranger already knew where we lived. Think about that for a second. We never spoke to him. We never asked for help. And yet, he walked toward us like he'd been expecting this moment. The rain was pouring so hard I could barely see his face clearly, but something about him didn't match the chaos around us. He was calm. Too calm. His clothes weren't even that wet. "Having trouble getting in?" he asked. His voice was quiet, almost casual, like we were just locked out on a normal day, not in the middle of a storm that felt like it was tearing the world apart. I didn't answer. I just stared at him, because how did he know that? Winter clutched my sleeve tighter. "Lillian, who is that?" Good question. The man crouched slightly, bringing himself closer to our level, but his eyes stayed locked on me. Not Winter. Me. Then he held something out. A key. Old. Slightly rusted. Definitely not something we owned. "You'll need this," he said. My heart started pounding. "For what?" And then he pointed. Not vaguely, not guessing, directly at our house. "That one." I felt this wave of cold hit me, and it had nothing to do with the rain. "How do you have that?" I asked. He didn't smile, didn't hesitate, just said, "Because she doesn't want you inside right now." She. Not your mom, not Veronica, just she. Winter was shaking harder now. "Lillian, please. I'm cold." And that's the moment everything shifted. Because whatever was happening, whatever this was, we couldn't just stand there anymore. I took the key. It felt wrong in my hand, heavier than it should have been. "Go on," the man said softly. I looked back at the house, lights still on, shadows still moving. My mom still not opening the door. So I made the decision. We ran. Up the steps, across the porch, rain slamming against us. My hands were shaking as I pushed the key into the lock, and it slid in perfectly, like it belonged there. I turned it. Click. The door unlocked. I froze. Because something didn't add up. If the door opens this easily, then why were we locked out in the first place? Slowly, I pushed the door open. It creaked. The house was quiet, too quiet, no footsteps, no voice, no sign of urgency. Just that same dim light and that same feeling that something wasn't right. And then, from somewhere deeper inside the house, a voice called out, "Close the door behind you!" It was my mom. It had to be. But the way she said it, flat, cold, almost like she was reminding us of a rule we didn't understand. I stepped inside anyway, and right before the door shut behind us, I glanced back. The man was gone. No footsteps, no sound, just empty rain. Our mom was inside the whole time, so why did it feel like we weren't supposed to be? The door shut behind us harder than I expected. Not a gentle close, not even from the wind. It slammed. Winter flinched. I grabbed his hand tighter. "Mom?" I called out, my voice echoing through the house. No answer. But the lights were on. That's what made it worse. Everything looked normal at first glance. The couch, the hallway, the pictures on the wall. But then you start noticing things, small things. A chair slightly turned the wrong way. A picture frame tilted just enough to feel intentional. The air, still, like the house itself was holding its breath. Have you ever walked into a place that should feel safe, but doesn't? That was this. Then we saw her, standing at the end of the hallway. My mom, Veronica. She wasn't moving, just standing there, watching us. And the first thing that hit me, she was completely dry. No wet hair, no damp clothes, nothing. But we had just been outside in a storm that soaked us in seconds. "Mom?" I said again, quieter this time. Winter ran toward her, but I pulled him back before he got too close, because something felt off. She didn't react to him, didn't kneel down, didn't ask if we were okay, didn't even look surprised. Instead, she said, "You shouldn't have come back inside." I felt my chest tighten. "What? What are you talking about?" I asked. "You locked us out." She tilted her head slightly, slow, controlled. "I didn't lock anything." That didn't make sense. I glanced back at the door. The key was still in my hand. Then I remembered. "The man outside, he gave us this." "There's no one out there." She cut me off instantly. Too fast, too certain. I turned and rushed to the window, wiping away condensation with my sleeve. Nothing. No one. No footprints in the mud. No shape in the distance. Just rain. Endless rain. Behind me, Winter whispered, barely audible, "Lillian, that's not Mom." I turned back slowly, and that's when I saw it. A mirror on the wall beside her. She shifted her weight slightly, but her reflection didn't match right away. It lagged, just for a second, a tiny delay, but enough to break everything. My stomach dropped. "Mom," I whispered, stepping back. She started walking toward us, one step at a time, not fast, not aggressive, but deliberate, like she already knew how this would end. "Next time," she said calmly, "close the door properly." The lights flickered, once, twice, and then everything went dark, just for a second. But when the lights came back on, she wasn't at the end of the hallway anymore. She was right in front of us, close enough to touch. She didn't walk to us, she just arrived. 1 second she was across the hallway, the next, right in front of me. No footsteps, no sound, no time to react. Winter screamed and buried his face into my side. I stumbled back, dragging him with me, my heart slamming so hard it felt like it might knock the air out of my lungs. "Mom?" I said again, but this time it wasn't a question. It was hope, and I already knew the answer. Her face didn't change. No anger, no warmth, just stillness, like she was wearing my mom's face instead of being her. "You weren't supposed to come back," she said. Same flat tone, same controlled voice. "What are you?" I demanded, my voice shaking despite trying to sound strong. Her head tilted again. "You interrupted it." It? Behind me, the house started to feel wrong. The clock on the wall ticked, but unevenly. Tick, tick, tick. The sound of rain outside would suddenly stop, then slam back all at once. Even the shadows along the walls stretched in ways they shouldn't, like the house itself was bending around her. Or it. "You've been different for weeks," I said, backing toward the kitchen, pulling Winter with me. "The calls, the locked doors, what were you doing?" For the first time, she smiled. But it wasn't relief, it wasn't kindness, it was recognition, like I'd finally caught up. "She opened it," the thing said. My stomach dropped. She, not I. "She wanted to see what was on the other side," it continued. "She wanted to understand reflection, duplication, passage." The words hit me all at once. Mirrors, late nights, the basement. I didn't think, I just moved. "Come on," I whispered to Winter, pulling him toward the basement door. Behind us, I heard it step forward. Slow, unhurried, like it knew we couldn't escape. The basement door was slightly open. It never was before. I pushed it, and what I saw made everything worse. Mirrors, everywhere. Tall ones, small ones, angled in a circle around the center of the room. Cables, equipment, a camera still recording. And on a table, Mom's journal. Pages filled with frantic writing. Subject stable. Reflection responding. Exchange possible. My hands shook as I flipped another page. Must isolate children before final stage. My breath caught. That's why she locked us out. Not to protect us. To finish it. A creak sounded above us. Footsteps. Coming closer. "You weren't meant to see that," the voice called down. Winter was crying uncontrollably now. I turned toward the mirrors. And then I saw it. Not behind me. Not upstairs. But inside the reflection. My real mom. Pale. Panicked. Trapped behind the glass, her hands pressed against it, her mouth moving desperately. No sound, but I could read it. 3 words. Don't trust it. My real mom was trapped, and the thing upstairs was never her. Everything clicked at once. The experiments, the mirrors, the storm, the way she moved, spoke, watched. My mom, Veronica, hadn't just been acting strange. She had been trying to do something impossible. And it worked. Just not the way she expected. I stepped closer to the mirror, my breath shaking. "Mom, can you hear me?" Her eyes locked onto mine instantly. She nodded, fast, desperate, her hands pressed harder against the glass, like she was trying to push through it. Behind me, a slow creak. Footsteps descending into the basement. "You shouldn't be down here," the thing said. Its voice was still calm, but now there was something underneath it. Urgency. I grabbed Winter's hand and pulled him behind me. My mind raced, replaying everything I'd seen in the journal. Exchange possible. Reflection responding. Exchange. That meant it could go both ways. I looked at the mirrors, really looked this time. The way they were angled, the cables connecting them, the camera still running. This wasn't random. It was a setup, a process, and if it worked once, it could work again. "You wanted to switch places, right?" I said, my voice steadier now. "Let's finish it." For the first time, the thing hesitated. Its expression flickered. I moved fast, adjusting one of the mirrors just slightly, aligning it with the others the way the journal diagram showed. The reflection shifted. The air changed. That same heavy pressure returned. The lights above us started flickering violently. "No," it said sharply. "Stop." Too late. The mirrors began to hum, a low, vibrating sound that filled the room. The reflection of my mom became clearer, stronger, while the thing behind me started to distort. Its face twitched, its outline blurred. It lunged forward. But it didn't reach me. It snapped backward instead, like something was pulling it. Hard. Its voice broke apart as it screamed, glitching, overlapping, unraveling. And then, silence. The mirrors went still. The pressure vanished, and behind me, a body collapsed to the floor. I turned. My mom. Wet, shaking, breathing. Real. Winter ran to her instantly, sobbing. She held him tight, her own tears finally breaking through. "I'm so sorry," she whispered over and over. I didn't know it would." I didn't answer, because I didn't know what to say. What actually happened? Police came after neighbors reported the noise and power surges. The basement, everything. It couldn't be explained away. Mom told them the truth, or at least enough of it. Illegal experimentation, endangerment, psychological evaluation. She wasn't arrested immediately, but everything changed. People looked at her differently. So did I. The stranger? Gone. No name, no record, no trace he was ever there. Weeks passed. The mirrors were removed. The basement cleared out. The house felt normal again, quiet, safe, but not the same. Not ever the same. One night, I stood in the hallway, staring at the last mirror we hadn't taken down yet. Just for a second. I moved, and my reflection hesitated, then followed. I didn't scream. I didn't move. I just stood there, staring at myself, making sure it stayed in sync. Because we got our mom back. We fixed what she started, and everything was finally over. At least, that's what I tell myself now.